Call the meeting to order.
Jenkins?
Here.
Harden?
Here.
Vaughn?
Here.
McKinley? Testori?
Here.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first thing on this evening's agenda is a recognition and a presentation for our very own Kara Butler, young lady. How many years did you serve out there?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Well, we can't
A
tell you
lot.
either. All I know is ever since I've been here, you have been the guard, and my son Gabriel has given you a hug every single day
Yes,
for
he has.
midnight. I can't even tell you how many years. So, on behalf of the city of Harbor City, we have got you a plaque. If you could come up here real quick. Can you take a picture? We can put her on.
Oh, God.
Got one. Tell me the name.
They look too much like me. I don't care for them.
They'll get that in the island. So there you go. Thank you, young lady, for your service. God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Carol. Hold on. All right, nothing on the agenda. So the next thing that we have on this evening's agenda is section 1, the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Call it.
Jenkins?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Harden?
Yes.
McKinley?
Yes.
Testori?
Yes.
Motion carries.
There being no unfinished business, we move to section 3, new business.
I make a motion that we go into executive session, 5 ILCS 120/2C3, the purchase of or lease of real property for the use of the public body.
Call it.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Harden?
Yes.
McKinley? Testori?
Yes.
Jenkins?
Yes.
Motion carries.
We are now in open session, section 4, other items, the city manager's report.
If you, and I know Josh said he came down over on Richardson Street. If you've been over on Richardson Street, we've had a couple dry days. The guy's been over there. He's been really humping trying to get that thing cleaned up, get a finished product, get the final grading and seeding done so he can get out of town. He still has a pretty good tab that is owed to him, so he's wanting to get done. If you haven't been up on North Plum, the concrete's been poured up there. We've got our new curbing in place. The new 5-foot lane on the east side, north of the railroad tracks, has been installed. City guys went up there, they put drainage in. A couple of those heavy rains after that, not as much water was standing up there, so evidently that's working well. That goes underneath US 150 and goes across over to the, there's a low area there where IDOT had some box culverts. Water department continues to put in the radio read meters. Just this past month, you see that they installed 29. That's a pretty good job putting in 29 of those. And you see that that's at a cost of $4,800. Wally had a scheduled run through IMEA just last week. Had the two cats out there running. IMEA was out there monitoring it, making sure that they were running efficiently. Engine 5, that would be the big engine that's still sitting out there, it's scheduled for a run later when they can actually put a load on it to make sure they don't carry that load. Contractor, if you haven't been out by the Casey's, you'll see that it's going real well. You'll see some plastic conduit that's been pulled underneath Oakville Drive. That's to feed the electrical underground. You'll see that if you look also that the sewer line's been extended, and then the last thing will be the setting of a new fire hydrant for them. Keep in mind that Casey's is picking up the tab on a lot of that stuff. We're updating the mutual aid agreement with IMEA. A lot of the stuff on there is very dated. You see that it was last done back in 2005, so we're about 10 years behind on that. The flagpole that was donated by the mall, and that was actually in front of the Sears store, has been put up out here at South Park. It's out by the baseball fields. Thought that would be a good place for the high school guys. The chief of police, we had discussed this well before I see that Leroy's now doing this, but I had gone to the chief of police and told him about ordinance violations and that we needed to kind of step the pace up on that. And that he actually needed to assign this to an officer to make this part of his normal duties. Since the chief has assigned Officer Honstock to work on ordinance violations, so he'll be going after the cars, the weeds, the houses, and there's 5 or 6 of them here in town. And part of this in his assignment is that he'll come in here when requested, and he'll make a presentation to you guys, and you guys can ask him exactly what he's doing and the process on getting some of these ordinance violations taken care of. The police department's now putting their information on the blotter. The chief told me to let you know you're not going to be getting the printout anymore. It'll actually be in the Leroy Farmer City Press. So he's going to be giving them all that information. Today, the IEPA was out at the sewage treatment plant. There are some deficiencies out there, some things that just haven't been taken care of yet. They really liked what they saw. They saw major improvements in a lot of the areas. A lot of it is just labor intense. Some of the things, one thing that they picked out was that if you go out there, the large settling bed that's out there has got trees that have grown around it. And all those trees have to be cut down because they said if the tree roots will soften the berm that goes around that. So they're, again, mostly just labor intense. One thing that they were checking on, and this work has not been done yet, we had hired Farnsworth Group to draw up a proposal to put gate valves in our CSOs. CSO is a combined sewer overflow, and we have 2 of them. We have one down at the cemetery lift station, and we have one down on Lincoln Street that also goes into Salt Creek. And so if you remember here, a month ago or whatever, the trouble that Monticello got into when they were allowing all that sewage and water to go into the saline down there, they don't want that going into Salt Creek here because obviously that would be a fish kill and would be very expensive. Unfortunately, if you looked out in Central Park last week, you saw a tree come down. That tree had some damage to it. The guys went over and they took a limb off that had broken during one of those storms, got out there and got looking at it. I had Fryman's cable that tree up several years ago, and but now the tree had split all the way to the ground. So last week we had Fryman's come in and go ahead and take that down. So, gentlemen, that's what I have.
Any questions to the city manager and his report? Possibility of replacing that tree anytime soon?
We would like to, yes.
Is the police blotter going to be complete? It's going to be names and violations and all that kind of stuff like that?
Yeah, I believe that all that information for the entire month of June's already been given to them, so yes.
Any other questions to the manager's report?
Scott, also, the chief's also going to put in their verbal warnings so they can see that how many verbal warnings are issued compared to how many traffic tickets. So.
Okay.
Any non-agenda items, other business? We have 2 public comments this evening. The first one, turn a sheet in, is Mr. Jerry McKinley. Sir, you have the floor.
Okay. Now Larry just mentioned the hookup on Plum Street. What's that tile coming up out of the ground? Did they ever tie into the drain right there on the west side of the railroad tracks?
Is that a question for Larry?
I don't know what you're asking. The tile coming up out
The brand new tile they just put in.
Right.
And
That tile runs straight north,
right. And
and
there's a drain there.
that tile runs into a box culvert which
Right.
goes underneath. It does not go into any tiles or anything. It feeds into a box culvert which goes north onto the north side of 150. There's a low area there that appears to have been designed to hold water.
Then, down by where the old Standard Oil pump station's at there, bulk plant was, that tile is full of water with all these rains we've been having. And it's the same down on John Street, the railroad side, is all full of water. There's a tile that comes from north and comes down, comes through my property, goes over to Yeagles, through Yeagles, and then it goes down to the ditch. And these rains we had, water stood. It flooded me and my barn out. I mean, and another thing to point out, down there on our farm ground, which is beans this year, it's flooded out. Because you can see the tiles sticking out of the ground. It's washed out so bad. We've got a problem where all that dirt's going someplace. It's washing it away. Am I right, Larry?
There's a catch basin on both sides of the end of John Street at US 150. Those are not ours. Those are not ours to maintain. We set barricades up there when that floods. But the other issue is, when we've gone to your little barn up there before, and we cleaned that catch basin out.
I took and snaked it out last year. You guys just pumped that.
But we can't do any of that right now because our truck's down in Springfield. So, I mean, there's a couple other catch basins that we need to clean out. But the back truck's down in Springfield's been there for 30 days or so.
But if there's a tile broke on west of me someplace, because where Yeagle's at, that tile got broke back, it's been 30 years ago, when the Barry Columbus Bakers junk, and they crushed the tile. And you know, down through there, and like I say, our bean ground, that's all washed out. That's probably a 24-inch tile or bigger. That's a good sized tile down there.
Where's your bean ground at? I don't know.
He's talking about
It's the
down there,
ground
the city owns that we traded for and everything down there, past
Maxwell
County.
Maxwell County down there.
Oh, okay. Depot Road in that area somewhere?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's city-owned property.
You believe there's a broken tile?
And people up north of me, they're having problems in their basements for water drainage.
So what you're saying is you think that that tile down there on the city property is broken down enough to where it's not draining good?
Yeah, someplace there's a tile problem.
Can we have Calvin look into that?
Well, yeah, I mean, and Jerry and I have talked a lot before. I just don't know how do you go out there and start trying to find, field tiles run everywhere. And,
You have to get somebody that knows what they're doing.
I mean-
They've got a sense for that, and they can sit there.
Because I can show you approximately where it's at, where it runs. I did that last year with you.
well, we went over on the railroad right away, and you got to be very careful doing any dig on the railroad.
Well, but back this way where it's me,
And the elevator.
Hirschman.
The elevator, they're saying that they don't believe that the problem is over there, so. I mean, I don't know. I'm open to suggestions, but you just can't go digging.
I wasn't talking on the south side of the tracks, I'm talking on the north side of the main line.
Right, on the, where you and I walk.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all brushy as heck down through there. But I'm gonna be spending $1,000 here pretty quick buying hay. I mean, I put up with this for over 2 years.
Now, there was a lot of dirt work done back by that railroad trestle when the city sold all that land off out there for the chemical storage facility. And there were broken field tiles back in there, and they went back in there and did a lot of work. So that might have been what made it worse. I don't know.
Do we have somebody on the city that can work with him to figure out where it's
Honestly,
at?
Calvin, I mean, we have a guy, not Calvin, but at the streets with him. Well, obviously, we have a citizen that has an issue, and if it's in our area, we need to see what we can do to find it. And if it is something that we need to correct, we obviously need to correct it.
Have you been out and seen our farm ground?
I run by it every now and then,
Yeah.
yes, I do. I haven't swam it yet, but obviously we need to see what we can do.
Now, there is a tile that runs down along the side of 150. That's supposed to drain those catch basins that he's talking about. But, you know, getting IDOT to do anything with that, getting the township to fix those catch basins.
Well,
Well, what Jerry's talking about as far as the tile goes, when they came in and put the fiber optic cable down along the railroad right away, that's when tiles started getting cut and not fixed. And from that point on, it's been a mess.
Yeah.
Because that has always been dry over there on that north side of the old New York Central Railroad tracks. That was always dry. And we lived up there, so I know what that was like. Across the road in that field that Bart Patrick owns, that was always dry until they came through with the fiber optic cable, and that's when they cut it.
And so that fiber optic you're talking about is over on the Canadian National?
No, it's on the abandoned track. That would be the Canadian, I don't know who owns that now. It's on the abandoned track.
The Conrail one.
What's north of Jerry's Barn there, it is, that's, well, it used to be Conrail, yeah, or I call it New York Central, that's what used to go through there. So, yeah.
So you're thinking right in there would be where the problem is?
There's some,
There's a problem
there
there.
is a problem there, yes.
But there's a problem on,
But there's a problem on downstream from that.
Yeah.
Over where he's talking about probably, because it happened in the past too. And probably when they got to digging up over there for, what's Rick Thorpe's business, everything he works for. And then maybe that somewhere got it stirred up again. But that's, it's something to look at if it's flooding our ground out too. And we're losing something there, so it needs to be probably looked at to see what's going on.
And I don't know how much it's going to rain, how long it's going to rain, but the crops are in the field right now. You might have to wait to get anything done for a while.
that's all grounded out.
Yours are.
No, I don't got no crop ground.
Okay,
The city, we all own that.
but back there by that railroad trestle, if you have to get back in there. you know.
Oh, yeah, might have to wait until,
Right, that's the only thing I'm saying.
because what comes,
There was
and
a
that
lot of
tile,
dirt work
that
done.
tile drains a lot off back in there because it drains everything up north,
Right.
comes down through there, and all goes into down through our creek through town.
And there was a tile broke down in that field because Jerry Wright had cut it up, Jerry Wright farming that. And I believe that Mr. Doble was hired to fix that stuff. That might be part of the problem, I don't know.
Like I said, we have a citizen that's got an issue, and if we need to see what we can do to track it down. If it is IDOT, I mean, if there's problems with IDOT, we need to be a spokesperson for our citizens and be a thorn in their sides to get them out there, so, thank you, Karen. Next public comment is Jonathan Fields. Are you speaking for the chamber, sir? You have the floor.
I apologize for last week, I guess I was on the agenda. Larry asked me to come speak and I didn't put the right date down. I had talked to both you as liquor commissioner and Larry as the administrator about some ideas we've been working on putting together for our farmers market the chamber does, which has been doing pretty well. We'd like to have some more events that maybe draw people to downtown to come check it out. One of the ideas that we've gotten everything set up and ready to go, we need the liquor commissioner and then the council to approve, would be to use a winery in St. Joe. It's Wildwood Cellars. They would like to come. They used to attend Monticello's farmers market every week. I'm not interested in every week. I'm looking at a one-time thing If it goes over really good, and let's say we did it end of July, maybe do it again at the end of August or something. They come, do a wine tasting, basically it's a sampling. They just talk about it. They're the largest producer of elderberry. Their family wineries in Kansas. They have a satellite operation in St. Joe. So they also do things besides alcohol-based, but we would need, they do have a St. Joe liquor license as well as a state liquor license. We would ask that you would issue a reciprocal license so that they could conduct business here and that the council approve using the city square here for the event. It would be during our farmers market. We would advertise it. Just something to get people to come out, something unique, something different. We'd like to have permission to do it more than once, but we want to start with one time during one Wednesday night and just see if it goes over well. In the past, in Monticello, they said it did very well at the beginning of the year, and as the summer drew on, it wasn't really cost effective for them to come and do it. So I started with her. I said, I'd like to do one time. If it goes over well, maybe do it a second time. So we've got everything in place. They do have liquor liability. They would issue a certificate. Everything is in place on their end and on the chamber's end. We would just need you guys to be able to approve it. Our farmers market's been doing well. We haven't set a termination date, either the end of August or probably the second week in September is when it will stop. We've had pretty good traffic. We've been growing vendors, getting some new vendors, changing vendors, and getting quite a few people to come up and check it out. So that's what I was here to ask for and to discuss.
Does anybody have any questions? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Need a second? Second. Call it.
McKinley,
Yes.
Westway,
Yes.
Jenkins.
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Harden.
Yes.
Motion carried.